Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Okay, so here we go. We have, I've got my, let me put my charts up. And right now I'm just basically looking at the British CAD. There was an alert earlier on that. We're not taking anything right now. We'll just wait for the next one to pop up. Oddly enough, last night I did get some IRIS alerts.
I noticed that
last
this
night.
morning, actually.
I thought, where did that come from? I thought they pretty much stopped doing that. So let me take a look and just see if there's anything there that might be worthwhile to just take a peek at here. I'll find out where the alert was.
Matt, can you move Christine over, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is anybody having problems besides me finding the link to get into the room?
Yes, I'm having a very hard time.
Okay. Yeah, I've got.
Oh, and I can't bring anyone over.
All right, let me try this again. Let me bring Christine over. There we go. There's that one. Okay, so all right, we got a few people in the room here. So let's see. Let's try and get going. Let me see if I can find that IRIS alert and see where that was, what pair that was, and what time it was. We had. Looks like we had one at 10:45 last night. Looks like that made. Oh, we actually had quite a few last night. Today, 6:30 this morning. Let's see what it was here.
I had trouble getting in the room at oh my gosh. Al. You still haven't had my coffee or tea?
Yeah. There was a US Swiss alert at 6:30 this morning with an IRIS. Let's take a look at that, see if we can find that. It was the US Swiss.
Hey Al, did you have any trouble getting into your instance this morning or this evening for your VPS?
No, I had it running all last night, so it didn't. I didn't have any problem with that.
Okay.
Let's go look at the US Swiss. They put the US Swiss up. Put my template on. Which chart are you seeing? Are you seeing my arrow charts? Is that what tell me you are?
Yes.
Okay. That certainly isn't an uptrend. We need this. Look at this one, a 15-minute chart. There's nothing there. They said there was a wedge at 6:30. Let me get my wedge charts up here. They gave us a whole new list of things to get for getting logged into these rooms, and I lost my link to it, and I had to hunt it this morning. I was a little bit late getting in here because of that.
So Al, let me ask you something. I click on the link in your Telegram, or not your Telegram, but in the Hawkeye Telegram. And if you haven't signed in yet, it tells me that we're waiting for the host to start the meeting. And if you are not the host, sign in here. Can you not get in at that point?
No, I can't because the room's not open. Yeah, I thought, in fact, I tried logging in that way as well, and I still couldn't get in. Basically, I have to open up the room in order for anybody to get in the way it looks like. So at least that's been what I've concluded so far.
Mm-hmm.
Bill sent me a new link for the room. I don't know if it's going to change every day. I've got one link I used last week, and that's the one I used today as well. And so we'll just have to play that one by ear.
Yeah.
Al, are you saying it's the same link every day, or it's a different one every day? Like
I think it's going to be a different one every day, but for right now, it seems to be the same link. We only have one link for the room. So
Okay.
it looks like when he sent me the list, it looks like he left lots of room in there for 5 more different links. And it just hasn't been filled up yet. So I think there's going to be a different link for every day. But for the time being right now, it just looks like we just have one link. So let's take a look at this while we're waiting for an arrow alert. Let's go take a look at this. Let me change charts here. There's always little glitches every time there's a change. And I'm a little slow sometimes in getting some of these things to be up and running here. Let me change my screen share. And we're going to share this one right here. Okay, you should be looking at my USD Swiss chart, 15-minute chart. We had an alert on this at 6:30 this morning. I don't know if you saw, not if you saw, but I was getting IRIS alerts last night. They started.
Yeah, I got a few as well. Except right now my charts are not working, so I can't get into my VPS to see anything for Arrow. So I'm gonna contact tech support right now.
We have to work on that a little bit here. So what I'm looking at right now with the US Swiss, and then we'll just work on this until we get another arrow alert, and then we'll go to that, and we'll just go back and forth for the next, we'll be going until about 9 o'clock this morning, maybe a little bit longer. I don't think there's anybody behind us, so we'll see. But anyway, what I'm looking at with the 50-minute chart, I'm looking to see what the overnight session was. This was Friday's session. This is Sunday, Monday morning here. So this was Friday's low. This was the overnight high. So I'm going to just find that range. Draw a box around it. So this is the range that's been in since Friday and then overnight. So we're going to make this one, find the mid-range on this. I'm going to lock this so it doesn't move on me. And so I'm primarily looking at the overnight session. Here's where pretty much where Sunday opened up, Sunday night, and now we're into Monday morning. And we had a wedge alert right here. So looks like there was a nice down move off of the 50-minute. And you can see right now it's coming up to retest that trend line. So here's our anchor, here's our hit, here's our third hit. Right now we're waiting. It kind of came right up there and it's rejected it right at the moment. We're going to try and find out where the bottom trend is. So we have the low from Friday's low, and we're going to bring it up into the low of the overnight session, so we're going to bring it on up to this area. So that's our new range. And now we're going to look and see how strong things are down here. So the blue one is where the 5 is on this RCS tool. It's now 7. So the dollar and the Swiss are right now, they're fighting neck and neck to see who's going to be the strongest of the two. That's not a very strong range. That's not a very strong difference between the two pairs. So I'm not going to be real anxious to take a trade with this because right now they're kind of flip-flopping back and forth between the 5, 6, and 7 position. So right now the dollar seems to be the more flexible one here. The Swiss seems to be holding fairly steady, but the dollar seems to be gaining and losing ground. And whipsawing over around the Swiss. If we bring it out to a 5-minute chart, and we're going to just see where we are and see, and you can really see right now is if you draw a fib line in the range of this, actually, let's check our fib lines out here. We'll put our fib lines on. And you can see here we have here's our blue zone. Well, there's one right here.
There's blue, right?
You know,
yep.
Let's go with the, I have to tell you what, let me put my 15-minute lines on here. Okay, so so here's a 15-minute green. I like putting the 15-minute zones on, and then I fill it in with the 5-minute zones. And we have a 15-minute red that's going to be right here.
Down.
Yeah, yep, I missed it. 15-minute red. And then we have the 15-minute blue. That's pretty much the ranges that we're in right now. So that's all we really need to do right now. Okay, now I'd like to see where does my range fit. So you can see where this is the upper part where it's coming right up. It's testing the 15-minute red, overshoots, it comes back down, comes back up. It's probably going to retest it again. But right now it's primarily ranging right around this red line. Let's go to our 5-minute chart. Let me lock this one. Let's go to our 5-minute chart. And you can see where the 5-minute red and 5-minute green are in between. So right now we have a little bit of an overshoot of the 15-minute red zone. We have the ranging and it's pretty much going sideways between the red and this 5-minute red zone. And that's really pretty much right in the middle where the wedge is. So as long as it's staying in between these two areas right in here, I'm not going to be interested in taking anything out of there. You can see that we had a nice strong down move, came back up, it's retesting the wedge. And we have another little smaller wedge right in this area right here. All of our moving averages are pointing in the right direction right now. Well, they just had from over here, we had a consolidation right over here. This is right around the 530 area. It came, nice move down. After the consolidation broke out and everything was in the right position. We had the 5-minute 62, we had the 13 and the 5 all going in the right direction. Now the 5 and it came. This is our 30-minute 62. Came down, bounced off. This is our second hit of the trend line. We started the trend over here. We can tweak that just a little bit. And that was the anchor. This is the first hit of the trend line. Up here we have the anchor, the first hit right here. And we have a retest right here. That didn't quite get all the way up. It's also, you can see where the 62s are right here. The trend line's right there. Now the question is it's going to come up here and break and come down. Right now, as long as it's in this area, we want to just stay away from taking any trades on it. And like I said, with the ranges like they are, we want to be a little bit careful. I don't expect a lot of volume today being a now U.S. holiday, but we'll see what happens with this. That's the way I would draw the wedge. Nice strong move down. Here's the pullback. And if we look at the U.S. Swiss, we see there's actually, it is in a strong up move. You can see where from this bottom trend line, the bottom one's, you can see it's just kind of in a slow, gradual uptrend with a pullback. So we really don't want to really be taking it short, but right now we're pretty much right at the daily range to take it long. There would be room up to this point. If it breaks here, we only have 12 pips to the top of the whole range. And it's, again, with a spread of 2 pip spread, you'll lose 2 pips going in, you'll lose 2 pips coming out. And it'd be you can possibly, if you get right on there, you may be okay to get your target 7 pips that we often look at. But it's not a real strong go.
Excuse me, Al.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you draw your possibly how many pips you can get out of it up until the first hit on the trend line now, rather than going all the way to the top?
From here to this trend line?
Your blue line just a little bit lower.
This one, this one here?
No, your top blue line, your top trend line.
This one. Yeah.
Now go up, follow it up. No, your trend line.
You're talking about to this fib line?
No, your blue trend line.
This was here, this trend line here.
Yes. Now the first hit, not the anchor, the first hit.
Up to this one.
Yes.
Is that being, well?
Why wouldn't you select that rather than the upper one?
Well, you could, but if the upper one's only 12 pips, then this one's going to be even less.
No, I understand. I'm just wondering, I'm just asking as a general question in like other situations.
Yeah, this would be pretty much, if it breaks here, this would be the first place where it's going to have to be, where it's going to be rejected. Right now, if I take these two, where the anchor and the first hit was, I would be looking at as a zone to be, it's going to have to get through this. And I would look at this as being almost like a trap or so if you get the breakout down here, you'd be almost looking at, I'd be looking at this being more of a trap in this area. Because it'd say, oh, it's going to break the trend line, it's going to break out, come back up here, and then you've got the overnight high we have to deal with, and you have it's pretty much going to have to break through this whole area before it's going to make a new high, and then we're going to have to come all the way over to the left to see if we can find where that next target would be, and then my guess is going to be probably somewhere up around this green zone. But right now I think I understand what you're talking about, is that if you get this break here, hit the close above, then you could possibly get, you could possibly get a few pips if this thing closes. We do have some strength to the bottom. We have some strength to the dollar. Dollar is the first currency of the pair. This would be a possibility to take this trade. I wouldn't expect to get a whole lot out of it.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because you know how you normally, like when we look for the trend lines, right? We look, like we follow the wicks until we get to, to the candle, right? So I was just wondering why you wouldn't go there first. That was all.
Yeah, well, this would be probably the first target. And the fact this is the overnight area, that's where I probably just went right up to that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, though. This would be, as I'm going to look at this as being a possible trap here. Now, like I said, if this thing breaks, there is some room. If you want to be real aggressive, when this candle closes, you've got possibly 6 pips to get, possibly 6 pips there. And if we're looking for 5 to 7 pips, that would be a viable trade. I would say it's kind of in the marginal area, but it is viable. So I've got my fib lines up here. And just remember that if it's a 15-minute fib line, that's going to be a blue fib line on any other lower time frame charts.
We just got an Aussie New Zealand on Arrow.
Oh, we did. Aussie New Zealand. Okay, let me, thank you. Yeah, I don't have all my charts up because I didn't want that to bog me down. I'm going to just keep adding them as we go along here. Aussie New Zealand. Take a look at that.
Yeah, the alerts should be working fine again now that they ramped up the VPS solution. So
I was running my my gearbox and variable live last night, so I didn't want to take any chance of bogging things down. So I thought I'd just start adding them as we go
No,
along
that's
here.
understood.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, let me share this screen. Just make a little switch here. And this is on number 4. Here we go. So, okay, we're looking at the Aussie New Zealand. I got to put this on a 15-minute chart. Be careful when you start loading your charts up to make sure you're on the right time frame. And Aussie New Zealand buy at 107.98. You can see we have a red zone right up here, right up as it's coming into. So right now, it is a strong up move. We have all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green bars, and only one red bar as we scaled into this thing. Let me zoom in, zoom out a little bit more, and it's still the same thing. So let's make this thing a little bit easier to read. And you can see that you're not going to get 20 pips to the top. Here's the arrow. And you can see this is a sort of very narrow range here that's trading in. That's why I'm saying I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of movement today. From the green zone to the red zone, you're only looking at, looks like 12 pips total. We need 20 pips before we can take the trade. We don't have anywhere near that. So that would be a no trade.
Al?
Yes.
I'm already driving you crazy this morning. Sorry. It's just for me and anybody else. You know how on Arrow you have to take it from the close of the candle. I'm sorry, the open of the candle after the alert.
Yes.
So would you or would you not measure it rather than from the green zone, but actually the opening of that candle?
Well, you would, but I can just look at this chart right now. I can see that I don't have 20 pips.
No, I know. I'm just talking for future reference.
Yeah, I mean, if yeah, that's basically what you do. You go, okay, there's the open of the candle, move it up to the zone, and now you've got 4 pips rather than 12.
Right.
I mean, the whole
Okay.
zone. I can just look and see. I mean, I'm just trying to. Your eyes are going to start seeing what the range of a zone is going to look like as, and when you see that they're all this tight, and you see how it's been facing, I can just look at this and say, but you're absolutely right. When, like, if let's say you had the candle over here, yeah, you would take it and you would measure from where the candle after the alert to the zone. Okay.
Thank you.
But you need 20 pips. Actually, there I just got a little bit bigger view on this thing. I was able to probably get that. So yeah, here's a candle. Here's the close of the candle. So, and this would be the open of the candle right down here. This is where a candle opened. And you come on up here and measure, and you've got a grand total of 4 pips up there to the upside, and you need 20. So that means you'd have to go all the way up through this whole red zone.
Right.
But we know we're in an uptrend because we had so many green zones. So you only want to be taking longs. So you have to be waiting for a up arrow, but you're probably going to have to wait till it takes this zone out that we have here, takes that zone out, and then you have free sailing up until then you can probably get your 20 pips. So if this thing comes up, takes this zone out, comes back in, bounces, gives you another up arrow, and it might be you may have the arrow. Now it may come up, bounce, take this zone out, come back down, give you a green arrow or arrow with a up arrow. Now you've got 20 pips. So now you've got lots of room because there's nothing else up here. And let's see, we just got a gold. We're not going to trade the gold today. We'll take a look at it, but we're not going to trade it. And we see that we have here's our zone. We're going to scale in to see what it looks like to zoom out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red, and we have 1, 2, 3 green. Scale a little bit more and see if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red, 1, 2, 3. So right now, it's more of a downtrend starting from all the way up here. We had a nice little bounce, but we're looking for more of a down arrow than we are an up arrow. So in this case, it's really kind of going sideways, pressure from more pressure from the ups from the to the downside. We have an up arrow that immediately eliminates the trade. And if I were to measure, and remember on the if you do trade gold, I'm not going to take any trades. We're just going to show you that when these alerts come through. When you do see these trades, you're going to be measuring. You're on a 5-minute chart on the gold and the indexes, and you're looking for a $5 move to the target, $10 stop. And so in this case, you'd be looking at. There's our arrow. So from here, this is what Christine was saying. Actually, we take it back. It's down. This is actually, if I look and see where this next candle closed, even though this is something you have to kind of wrap your head around a little bit, because we're so used to seeing green candles are all bullish candles and red candles are all bearish candles, which is true. But remember that these are going to stay green as long as it's in an uptrend. They're going to stay red as long as it's a downtrend. So even if you're looking at a normal candle, you can see this is an arrow, this is a green candle. Well, if this was a bullish candle, you'd expect the open of the next candle to be way up here. But you can see that it came back down and the next candle opened up right down below. So this was actually a red candle that you're looking at. And it's so, but you're on a downtrend. So it'd be more likely you're going to see this thing come up, bounce, give us a down arrow. Then you would have a little bit of a shot at maybe a target down below here. But if you measure this out, so this is really where the candle opened. And so with an up arrow, you'd be looking at, that's about a, looks like that'd be from 1833 and a half, call it 1837. So that's basically $4 to the upside. And then your stop would be down here at from 1833, 1823, which would be all the way to, your stop would be all the way down in this area. You have just a little bit, you're just about having enough room to take the trade, but I said I'm not going to take this. So while we're waiting for the next alert, let's go back to our other chart where we were looking at that U.S. Swiss, and you'll see what that's doing. And you can see here's our trend line. Here it was, it came up, it wicked, closed above the trend line, and now it's right back into the wedge again. Came right up. It wasn't able to hold through this 15-minute fib line, which is a significant line. We know this one is in an uptrend, but right now it looks like it's just ranging inside here with slight bias to the upside. We are showing some strength here on the 5-minute with the US dollar. And same way we have a 3-point spread on the Swiss on the 15-minute. Then we look at our 1-minute chart, and you can see that it's still somewhat. Now, if it can come up and reach, we had a nice little pullback, still forming another little support, a little bit of a triangle, a little bit of a trend line here. Keep in mind, this is off of 1 minute, so this doesn't have a whole lot of, it matters, but it's, you can't count on that to be holding with that. It's just for like fine, very minute entries. This almost looks like this, almost like a little bit of a head fake. Came up, head faked in, got everybody thinking, oh, it's going to break out. Traps, comes back in. Now it's looking to retest the bottom of this. Again, not enough room or not enough momentum to take the trade. I think this, again, I think it's going to be a very slow volume day today. Any questions so far?
Well, charts are up and running finally.
Oh, good.
All it took was a reboot. So
yeah, in fact, that's one thing they said. Actually, I really like the way they did it this time. You just get to reboot your own. And the reboot went really well and really easy, and all the charts came back up the way they were. And
Yeah,
it was
didn't lose everything. You didn't have to re-log into your
yeah,
trading accounts. None of that.
it was a much smoother VPS upgrade this time.
You sound like you're at the bottom of the ocean, Matt.
Oh, yeah, I don't have my my mic, so I'm just using the laptop mic. So let me see if I can find the other one.
So now, are you on a remote desktop with your charts?
I am. Yep, I have the remote desktop set up. I think we've got Christine set up last night with the remote desktop.
Okay, so am I, but mine's really slow. So is there something I should have done with this new VPN?
No, I mean the remote desktop supposed to actually should make it a little bit better, a little faster actually.
It actually removed one of my charts that I didn't remove.
Oh, it may be because you're still running on a Mac, so that I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not.
I don't think it would, because when I went into the experts to see if I had missed any alerts, it said GBP Aussie has been removed, and it said it 4 times. I didn't remove it, so I don't know why it was removed. And then I looked and it was gone, but it was there earlier this morning. Weird.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. And so we're just sitting, waiting and waiting for the next trade. Like I said, this one's to me is still a no trade. It's still still range bound, not enough volume, not enough volatility. Well, I'm rather interested as to why we finally started getting the IRIS alerts. I'm beginning to wonder if the program just wasn't such that it just said we're not trading the last 2 weeks of December and the first 2 weeks of January. Because that's pretty much what happened with it. But the alerts started coming in last night, right around, I think we got the first one about 10:45 last night, East Coast time. And we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alerts since then. So we'll see. And in the meantime, we wait. And you say when I had the music going, it was, you could hardly hear me, huh?
Yeah. Were you playing a CD in your computer? Yeah, I think that's why.
Is that why? Was the music loud?
Yeah, like 3 times as loud as you.
Yeah, I could barely even hear it.
Because I could barely hear it on my end.
No, the music we could hear, but your voice was totally drowned out by it. And I think it's because you're playing a CD on your computer as opposed to just playing on a YouTube, because it can go in the background because it's using the same speaker or something. I don't know how it works, but
because I had set up to use my computer audio or my computer. Things they use computer audio. So apparently that's what happened with it.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it has something to do with you playing a CD or not.
We have to play around with that later on today if we get a chance to. Be nice to have a little bit of background music on this. You can see how this thing had a nice little flag pattern coming up. Now it's breaking the bottom of this wedge. Now the question would be, is there enough room from where this thing broke out here, this wedge, this little flag and wedge to the downside? Again, I'm not taking this thing now, but we can kind of play around this, kind of watch it. That's 10 pips. That's just about the same amount of range, actually a little bit more range to the upside. But remember, when we looked at the IRIS charts, you can see this is in an uptrend. So if you were to take it on this pullback, you're actually doing a counter trend trade. And you can see that these RSIs really aren't getting very far up. They're just sort of hanging around here in the middle zone. And those are the best ones to just stay away from.
Did you get an Aussie NZD trade at 1 o'clock? or not 1 o'clock, but in the last 15 minutes.
On the IRIS?
In the
Arrow.
Arrow.
Aussie NZD. No, but I don't have all. That's why I'm kind of relying on Christine and Eva to let me know when these alerts. I don't have all my. In fact, maybe I should just start loading some of these charts up and see what happens. Did you get an Aussie NZD?
Yeah, I did, but
Yeah,
that was 15 minutes ago. So
Yeah, I won't get the alert unless I have the chart. That's one thing about it. Unless you have the chart open, you're not going to get the alert. So
right.
that's why I'm gonna just start putting some of these charts on here. Just all you do is come over to your chart list, right click, go chart window, opens up the chart, make sure you're on the right time frame. So I'm gonna put it, mine is defaulting to open up on the 1 hour. So I'm going to go to the 15-minute, make sure I'm on the 15-minute, and then I just made a template and then go load the template. And I've got it set for a default. Open it up. And there's my template. Now, one thing I did on my charts as part of the template, you'll see this yellow line. And we've been having a little bit of trouble trying to remember what time frame, what zone it is on a local time versus the chart time. So what I did was I just put a vertical arrow in, and I can look and see that, so I don't forget. I put a label on this, and I just said to the chart time minus seven hours is my Eastern Standard Time. So what I can do is if I can go to slide this over and see what my chart time is, and the chart time is 15:15, and I can look down at my local clock and say it's 8:15. Then I know that the chart time is 7 hours. So if I go to my other chart, my TradingView chart that I use to actually look at my trades, I know that I can go to the if I look over here and say, okay, there's an arrow over here at 10 o'clock on the 15th, which is Friday. I know that that's going to be at 3 o'clock in the morning for me on my chart. And that way, when you look back at the list and see where different, if you want to do a little bit of back testing, that way at least you can, it helps you remember what the time frame difference is between the MT4 platform and then your local charting platform. Just a little trick. And if you put that vertical line on your chart and you save the template, if you go to right click, go to your template, and you save the template, that will show up on your future templates. Any questions about that? That's just a little MT4 tidbit.
Al, did you want us to see you do that on the MT4? Because we didn't see your MT4.
Yeah, we were still seeing you on the trading view.
Shoot. Are we still on the trading view? Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I went through all that and okay, here we go. Yes, let me switch.
I'm sorry, I should have asked you earlier.
Yeah, were you sleeping there on me there, Christine?
I didn't have my tea yet, Al.
Let's see. Okay, let me switch charts here while we're waiting for another.
Maybe I should jump and get it.
All right, here's my chart. So here we go. Now we see our chart, my chart again. Okay, let me go through this all over again. I've got so many monitors, then I have to keep switching back and forth here. So here's a vertical line, and you can come over here with your line tool, and you just put the line, just click on that, come over here, left click, and there's the new line. If you have the line open, if you right click, you have to get right on top of the line. And the thing is, you see this little white spot up here, that tells you that the line can be moved. So you just have to left click on that twice, but you got to get right on it. Left click, then the little line comes up. And if you right click, then you'll see where it says vertical line properties. Click on that. And here's where you can here's where you can make some adjustments, change the color. But right here in the description, you can say like I said, I chart time minus 7 hours. And you have a little note there. And then you click OK. And then you can change your parameters. You can just go right to the time that you want. So let's say you want to go to 18. Let's say you want to go to, this is the 18th at 11 o'clock. Say you want to go to make this 1500. And you should be able to go to that. And there it is. It pops right over to where you want. And then you can see where the chart time is here. So this is the first, this is at 2300 hours. And if you hover over that, you'll see a little window pop up, and that'll tell you chart time minus 7 hours. So you know that if you want to go to 1500, actually it'd be 7 hours minus the 2300. So you would just move it back, subtract 7 hours, and that would be your time that you'd be using, like on your TradingView charts. That may be in your local time. That'll give you your local time. And then if you want to save the template, I don't want to save this one. So you have your vertical line, and then if you go right click down to templates and save the template, this one is going to pop up. Then you click OK, and then you give the template a name, and then you just go ahead, just give it a name. So you can click on that. You can say default 2, and then just click the save button, and you have it there. And then when you go to right click, you go to template. After you've saved it, then just go to load. Click on your default. Click it open. And there the line pops up again. And then all your indicators are in the right order and everything else you have working for you. And that's what you do. Any questions about that?
No, thank you.
I just got a cup of coffee, just walked in the door for me.
Thank you,
That
Martha.
makes me jealous.
You are the best, Martha.
I got a good one.
Helps us too.
She actually has a day off today, although I don't think it's going to be much of a day off for her. But and so we wait. If we look at, while we're waiting, I'll show you the RCS tool a little bit. We'll see if we can, as we I said, we're still kind of looking at this alert as with the British Swiss or the US Swiss. Change charts. And you can see this thing, it's just, I mean, we've been looking at this thing for over an hour where it kind of popped up here. This was right around 8 o'clock or 7:30. And so you can see like from 7:30 and right now it's about, for the last hour, it hasn't really ranged. And this is one of the prime times of the day for these pairs. It hasn't ranged more than 4 pips. Looks like about 4 pip range. And if you took that, you say, oh, wait for it to get up, and then say, oh, it's coming back against me. And it's going, oh, now, and the emotional inventory you pay emotionally when you're holding off in trades like this with no volume, it just it gets to be kind of expensive price to pay for just all you're doing is going back and forth, 4 pips here. You're up a couple pips, you wait for the breakout, comes against you. Goes against you. Oh, should I get out? Oh, then comes back up again. Oh, and this is where you can really get hurt because it breaks out. You get in, it doesn't go anything, stops you out, comes back in. Oh, it's going to go short. You take it short, comes back up, stops you out, and all you're doing is just getting yourself just beat up. Bang, 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 bang. And if you take it if you do get in the right direction, take it short up here, but now you only get 2 pips. So you already paid the dealer 2 pips. You take them another 2 pips to get out of the trade, and all you're doing is basically breaking even, and you're paying a lot of emotional inventory to be in that trade like that. That's why these are just days to. These are better. Today's like this are you're better to almost even just use these sessions as question answer because I think most of the trades that are going to pop up today aren't going to be very tradable. And let's see what chart am I looking at right now. I should be looking at the. Okay, so we're looking at my trading view chart. And let's go and show you the correlators. This is the one tool that we use. And what it does, it shows us the 8 major currency pairs on 4 different time frames. I have this on a right there. This is on a 1-hour chart. The gray box here is the 30-minute chart. This is a 15, and this is a 5. And basically, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to see which currency of the top, which currencies is consistent in the top 3, which currency is consistent in the bottom 3 on all 4 charts. If I look here, I have the yen, US, and Swiss. Go to 30-minute, the yen's still in the top 3. Here, nothing, the yen is not in the top 3, but the Aussie is in the top 1 on the 30 and the 5 at 15, and the Aussie's in the top. So basically, on the higher time frame, the Aussie's in the bottom 3, and the 30, the 15, and the 5, the Aussie's the strongest one. So if I were going to be trading on a 15 or a 5-minute chart, I'd be trading with the strength of the Aussie. And then it would be, what would I be trading it against? Well, right now I'm seeing that the euro is in the bottom 3 on the 30-minute chart. The euro is in the bottom 3. The US is in the bottom 3. And so I'd be possibly would be like the Aussie US or Aussie euro here. Euro's getting a little bit stronger here. So you see, there's not a lot of consistency. When you have a really good volume and really good consistency, you'll see the yen on the top of all 4 charts. You'll see the, like the British pound may be in the bottom 2 of all 3 charts. And usually, so I would be looking at my top 2 strongest on the higher time frame, and then I try and find consistency on the bottom in the next 3 time frames. And if I can't get that, that's just a good time to say there's nothing that's consistent as far as strength and weakness to be trading. So you don't have any real strong direction. And we were looking at the Aussie US was the last pair we were looking at. And you see the Aussie strong, but the US is right here in the middle on the 30-minute. Not a lot of spread there. Aussie strong here. The US is the bottom, a little bit better on the 5 and the 15. But you can see there's not a lot of upper level support to keep pushing that to help support the Aussie being the strongest, or the upper level support showing that the dollar is going to be weaker. So like I said, with this, it's all there. There's no consistency on these 4 time frames. And that's a good way to be looking, saying that I'm just going to stay out of it until I start seeing that with markets start moving enough to where on the hour, the 30, the 15, and the 5, where they're all sort of telling the same story. And then you have, that way we have some pretty good direction as far as the direction of the trade.
Al, we have a US yen just came through on Arrow.
Okay, let's take a look at that. And we're going to go to the US yen. US yen. I don't think I have that one up. Let me find my cursor. And US yen, I got to put that one on. Actually, in fact, I didn't get that alert. That tells me I didn't have it on my chart. So I'm going to look for my US yen. Come over here, right click, pull up the chart window. Make sure I'm on a 15-minute chart. Load my template. And you don't have to be in a big hurry for these things. Excuse me.
You're usually good for 30 minutes or so. After an hour, though, I would consider not taking it.
So I'm going to be looking at right now. I've got 1, 2, 3 red. I've got 2 green. It looks like it's more of a downtrend. Let me scale in a little bit further. Now I've got 4 and 2. So you can see that it's got pressure to the downside. So we're going to be taking it short. So let me zoom in a little bit and see where we're at. Here's our candle. Now you can see automatically, you can see that this candle already came in, it already bounced off of this. And we have a down arrow. So the question is, do we have our 20 pips? Come over here with our little scale, come over here and check at here's a candle, come over to the open candle now, the live candle, which we have the little red one right there. And we're going to scroll down to the top and we've got a rip roaring, looks like
1.
1.
Barely.
Yeah, we need 20. So obviously you can see the 20 is going to be all the way down here. Where we at? Let's see, was that 74, so 54. So it's even below where, so you can see that there's lots of, it's going to have to get through all this and have to get through that one. Now this, you actually have more room to the upside, but again, we have more red than we did green. So again, it's a no trade. But we're glad it told us to take a look at it because you just never know. Let's see, so we're about 30 minutes away from the 9 o'clock hour. And I said, I'll just keep looking at this and see if there's anything that starts showing me. Oh, you're not looking at it because I don't have it. Let me ask you a question. Can you see this chart? Can you see my correlator chart now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right, then we'll just start moving it back and forth. That may be the way to do it. So I'm just going to keep looking at this while we're waiting around. We can just be watch and see how the different pairs correlate with each other. And I mean, right now on the 1 hour, the Japanese yen is still the strongest. So if we get an alert that says the British yen, we may want to take a look at that. This one on the 5 minute, it doesn't have quite that significance because that's a pretty low time frame when you're talking about the overall strength of a pair. I'm a little surprised that the Aussie is so weak on the 1 hour chart to the 30 minute and the 15. I'm a little surprised about that, but that's just what it is. And remember that when if we're trading in the London US session, the pairs that are going to be the most prevalent, the ones you're going to be mostly concerned about, are the pairs that are from Europe. So that'd be the British pound, the euro, and the Swiss, overlapping with the US session, which is going to be your Canadian, your US dollar, and your gold. So it'd be those 5 pairs you'd be looking at and see how well they correlate with each other. And within the session of the time frame that we're looking at. Back to my arrow chart. And we wait. That's a good time for some questions. So we're happy to, we can make this open like Monday since it's going to be kind of a slow day today.
I got a US 30 alert.
A US 30?
They're not doing indices.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just we could take a look at it, but we don't. Nathan isn't real big on. He doesn't trade the indices and the gold a whole lot. I think they like to have us keep away from those during these sessions. We can take a look at them.
Oh no, for sure. just that we have an alert. So I don't trade it anyway.
And let's see, what else do we have? We don't have any new arrow alerts. The last one was at 6:30, IRIS alerts rather. Let me just if you still have IRIS, the AIRIS feed, raise your hand. I'd just like to know how many people are still having the IRIS. I think a lot of people have gravitated over to the Arrow. It is a little bit easier system. They are coming out with IRIS 2, which is going to be it's going to be coupled along with the Arrow charts, I believe. We're going to be working on that, and hopefully they'll have where they'll actually be able to start drawing wedges on the chart. It will generate the actual wedges. I'm not sure how long that's going to take. We're just in the infancy stages of working with that. And I think the target date is somewhere around in April to maybe have it available. But we have a couple of months of development and beta testing before that's going to happen.
And don't forget, we have an update this weekend for Arrow 3.
Do we have a variable one as well?
Oh, yes?
No.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think Gearbox, upgraded this weekend, I believe. It has, Gearbox has a new, I don't think it really, I think they just, I don't know if they re-optimized it. Do you know what they did with Gearbox this week, Matt?
I do believe that they just enhanced it so that it used less processing power.
Is that what it was?
But yeah, but I'm not sure of all the updates and what they did. I do not believe that there was any updates relating to any functionality, but I'll have to go check and find out.
One thing you can do too, if you want to, just for organization purposes, if you can see that on you have your tabs of all the open. I am showing my arrow chart, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You have all the tabs on the bottom here, and you can. What I try to do, I try and kind of group them alphabetically, so that I have all my British pairs all together. I have all my Euro pairs all together, because that way, when alert comes out, if you're on a full screen like this, you can just kind of come down and see where, and then just, and you can grab these, like for here, like I have the US yen here on the end. I can just grab that and I can slide it on over next to my US Swiss. And then so I have my US Swiss, I got two
You have
US
two of
Swisses.
them.
I don't need both of them. I can take one of these off.
Yeah.
And so we have all my US Swisses together. I have all my Aussies together. I usually like keeping my gold and my indexes off to the right. Keep them. And so then when you go to tile this, they'll be in some of an alphabetical order. You'll see like the British CAD, that's in the upper left. British Swiss, that comes down. So basically it goes from here, fills them in down from this way, comes up to this one, fills them in down, comes up, brings them down, comes up, brings them down. You can see that my gold is at the very end. So that way, when you have these tiled, or if you have the open chart, is a lot quicker, and then get another alert. It's easier to just say, oh, here are all my euros, which one is it? And I usually try and keep these in somewhat of an alphabetical order if I can. So like this one, I'll move this over here to next to the Euro Aussie. So I have the Euro Aussie, Euro CAD, Euro Swiss, and Euro US. And if I retile this again, you'll see that they'll fall into the right category of the Euro Aussie, comes up the top, CAD, Euro Swiss, Euro US. Just a little empty for trick.
What happens if?
Go ahead.
If like I was trying to get the notifications on my phone and I have my NT4 ID and I put it in the notifications, and I did push, and then it just said that it was Medical Software Corp failed.
That's yeah, I've been having some trouble getting I was getting these alerts all the time, and I'm not sure what happened that why I'm not getting them. But if you go to tools, the way you should be setting this thing up, go to tools, go to options, and then this one is going to pop up, and you're going to be looking at the notifications. Click on the notifications tab, and it should be enable push notifications. Make sure that's checked,
Right.
and then when you put your MetaQuote ID in here and you hit test, it should ding your phone. Your phone should ding. Now, for some reason, and I don't know, I'm going to have to talk to, I don't know if this is a MT4 platform problem or if it's, but I was getting them up until about a week ago, and now I'm not getting them so much here anymore. I do have an iPhone, so I'll push the iPhone. I do have the mobile app for the iPhone. And I should be able to push that test button and your phone should ding, but it hasn't been dinging here. So I don't know what the, I'm going to maybe see if I can get a hold of Nathan and find out.
Actually, Al,
Yes.
I'm looking, and there was a Euro CAD that came through
A while ago now, but I
Let's
didn't get it.
there it is right here.
At my chart and I see it there.
Yep. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 zones. We have 2 zones. So it would be a down move. Let's scroll in a little bit, zoom out a little bit more. Lots of red on the top, 2 zones red on the bottom. This would be a viable trade. So we could go, let's go zoom in a little bit. See if we can find out where this is. We're going to go and put here's our crosshairs. Here's the arrow with the red. It's below the moving average. We got a red arrow. So we would have an entry right here. And do we have 20 pips to the downside? Looks like 40 pips. 40 pips, so there's enough room to the target to the downside. This would be a viable trade. Let's go and mark it. So this was, let's see, what time was this? This was at, the alert came in at 1 o'clock chart time. So that would be 6 o'clock in the morning, my time. And this was the, what did we say? This was the Euro CAD. Let's take a look at that.
CAD, yeah. Yeah, I didn't get alert. I think it's because of the initializing of the new VPS and all that kind of stuff. And now it's kind of adding everything, I notice. So that's when I saw this thing.
And that's, we'll take a look at this and then we'll go and we'll analyze this on the trading view. So here's the entry. There would be the entry that'd be at 154.13. And the target would be, let's see, so we look at the target zone would be right about here. You look at that, that's at 150. So 154.13 minus 20, so that's going to be 153.93, I guess. And we're at 153.72. Lots of room to the downside. Okay, so that would be a viable trade. Right now, it's right at that point right now. And you can see though from 6:30 this morning, that was basically from 6 o'clock this morning. And it's now almost pushing 9 o'clock. It's hasn't moved, but let's see how much has it ranged since the alert.
I got GBP AUD, yeah.
Just now, okay.
Yep.
And it would say so. It hasn't ranged more than 9 pips to the upside and more than 9 pips to the downside. And you also see just now showed up a green zone here. So right now that's not a trade. Now, what was that? What was the pair now, Matt? British what?
GBP Aussie.
GBP Aussie. Okay, let's get that on up here. Chart window.
That green zone is playing with us.
15. Template. Load. default, open. Well, here we have another green zone. I can see right now, I can just look at this thing. There's not going to be a trade for us. Scroll in, running, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green zones. So that means it's in an uptrend. We have a down arrow, not a trade. Let's look at it a little bit closer. So we know what this is. We see this is in an uptrend. And now that we have a zone right in front of it. So we're going to scroll out and just might as well go through go through all the drill here. And we have here's where the down arrow was. And that's at 176.41. And we'll put another arrow in at the top to the next zone, which is right here. And that's 176.35. So basically there's a 7 pip range before it runs into the wall. Again, it would be one of these situations where if it comes back in, goes deep enough, comes back up, gets rid of this zone, or even if it's in this zone and gives us an arrow when it comes back out, it's got to get above the moving average. By the time it gets above the moving average, give us an arrow, we're going to be right back up into this zone again. If you use the crosshairs to see what the range is between these zones, it's 176.58, and you pull it back down. You've got basically you have 22 pips between the two zones. Again, by the time you get the bounce, get the crossover with moving average, get the arrow, you're back up into the next zone. You got the bounce, crossed over the moving average, got the arrow, we're right back into the next zone. There's just not enough room here to be able to take these trades. And it's that simple to analyze and just say, okay, well, it doesn't fit the rules, so you just stay away from it. Now we mentioned about the Euro CAD, I believe was one that we were looking at, correct? And this is the one that the zone
Yes.
just, when we first got the alert, the zone was not here, correct?
Correct.
That's
You
right.
see there, yeah, and so if we had taken it over right where the arrow is, it would have been a viable trade. It would have been a valid trade to take. Now the question is, what happens when you get a zone that, if you're in this, you took this trade back here at 6 o'clock this morning, and you're still well within, your stop is way up here, your target's still way down here, and you get another green zone as this thing develops. What are you going to do? I believe the rule is that if you get a zone that pops up, you just get out of the trade, you exit the trade.
Well, you have to take into consideration as well that the candles are still closing below the line.
They are still, yeah.
Average. So it's kind of, like I did get in it just now when I found it, and I'm staying in it for the time being because it's still a strong sell, all the other indications, and this is a weak green zone. So, it is a little subjective, I guess, in cases like this. And
I think that's really a good point, Eva, because of right here, the entry of this would have been at 154.13, so 40 pip stop, which is what we use to be at 154.53. So if I go up here to where the stop would be, let's go up here to 154. That's at 154.3. That's close enough.
53, so yeah, so right around there.
So let's just make this our stop. I'm going to go in here, show you how to do this. Stop. Just make this a stop. I'm going to make this red. Let's do pink. I'm going to make it a little bit pinker just so I can see it on, so I can see the numbers a little bit easier. Let's go with the hot pink. And we're going to make it a little bit thicker, just so we can see where our stop is. We emphasize that. And we have stop written here. Put that in, and so we know that's where our stop would be. Here's where our target would be. And so one thing that you can often do is that, as for example, like when this up move here, we had nice push up. As long as it stays, as long as you have, if you're getting the trade, you have two choices. You could just go for 20 pips and get out, take your profit and have a good day. Or you can say, if you want to go for a little bit more, you can just say, as long as this thing stays green, as long as you don't get a close below the moving average, you can stay in that trade until it hits the next zone. So in other words, like if you had this move right here, it came in, if it formed a red zone right up here, but then closed through the moving average, you can still trade, because even though it may have, even like here, if it develops a green zone, it's still showing red bars, red candles. It's still showing below the moving average. And you still haven't hit your target. As long as these candles stay red and stay below the moving average, you can in my mind, it's still valid to take for the longer run, to take the trade, to still take it short. And as Steve has pointed out, this is a weak zone. Now, there's something that I discovered the other day, and I don't know if anybody in the room has had this problem or not, and I don't know if this is going to be a fix with the next version that comes out, but let me just point out something that is that you may want to find out. Last Friday, we had a trade, and it showed the down arrow, and it showed weak right here, but there wasn't a green zone. If anybody have had that?
Actually, it's funny because Jannar just said, I don't have this support zone on the EuroCAD. And so I told him we'll address that in a moment. So
okay, okay, I have a question for you, Jannar. Does it say weak but no zone? If it is, just type in the chat box yes or no. Because this is something we found out last Friday, and I don't know if it's just a fluke or if it's let me address the situation. If you look and see.
Oh, Jannar, do you see the word weak?
Right here, do you see this word weak?
You see that on your chart. Oh, he doesn't even have the word weak on his chart.
Okay, here's all right, I'm going to show you something and see if this will, and here's what we discovered. I'm going to, if you right click and go to your indicator list, and then left click on the indicator list, you're going to pop up an indicator list. Is everybody with me so far?
Yes.
Yeah, we're here.
On the indicator list, you're going to see I've got two arrows. I've got an arrow, just arrow, AIRO, and I have an AIRO V2. If you do not have both of these on your chart, you're going to be missing something here. So, and what you need to do is so Gerard, do you have V2 on your chart? Just type in the chat.
Yes.
Do you have AIRO on your chart? Yes. You have I got two yeses. Next question. Is the order that you're seeing it on this indicator list, do you have the AIRO V2 above the AIRO, or do you have these two switched around? So is the AIRO V2 on the bottom below the AIRO, or I don't have.
He doesn't have
AIRO. Okay, that's that. We're going to fix your problem here right now.
Okay, so they've got the arrow V2 on there.
Yeah, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this off right now. In fact, I'm going to just show you what, this is a loading problem that I saw, and we can fix it right here. It's just, you're not the only one, because I had the problem the other day and it took me a little while to figure it out. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the indicator list, and I'm just going to I'm just going to put it where you are.
But Al, don't make him delete it. He's already got the arrow 2 on there.
Yeah, okay, so all right, do not delete it. But what we're going to do, let me just do this. What I want you to do, Gerard, is go to your view and go to your navigator. And on the navigator, you're going to see under index, you have the index tab. Under the indexes, you're going to come over here and you're going to see arrow 1 or arrow and arrow 2. You see that?
Hang on a second, Al. It will show you double signals, Jannar, and this issue is being worked on. And I think the new arrow that's going to come out next weekend is going to combine these together. But for now, in order for you to see everything properly, this is what you have to do for this week.
Yeah, until the new version comes out. I'm going to make the assumption it's going to be addressed in the next version. So what you want to do now is take this arrow O, and you're just going to go and just slide it on over and then release it. And then you're going to click OK. And now you're going to now you're going to see if you right click on your index list. Now you can have a next one. I'm going to take this. I don't need two of them. I'm just going to take this one off. And they should be listed in this order, arrow 2, and then the next one below it should be the arrow. If these two are switched around, it's not going to work for you.
Did that fix the issue? Now it works. There you go.
Okay. And so that's what the trick was. Is I had these reversed. I had the arrow O and the arrow V2 below it, and I was getting this. I was getting weak, but no zone. Now I've got.
What happened to your?
Yeah, what happened to my weak?
Stuff?
Let me reload this chart. Well, I think it did go away, but the weak is still there. I'm just kind of curious about that one.
But we don't see any bars anymore on yours. It's
okay. Let me
reload your template.
Yeah, let me reload my template here.
Yeah.
I obviously messed something up when I did that little maneuver there.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Now the weak went away.
Now the weak disappeared.
Yeah, and now this would be a valid trade, but we're already out of the chute here. And that would be one reason, again, that would help give the argument as to why Eva said she was going to stay in the trade, because we still have red bars. It's still below we had that zone. It was a weak zone. It just developed because of this price action right in here. But you didn't get a green bar above the moving average. And now it's just coming back down into looks like this is your target. So you take this and you look and see where the entry was. Now, even like I wouldn't be chasing, I don't chase trades, but if you were, I mean, would you have 20 pips? There's 31 pips to the downside.
Yeah.
So right now it looks like this is still a valid trade. It will give you some pause. The fact is had that showed up a green zone, right? Well, but this is basically, it's a drop, it's basing. And it's going to look, it's like it's dropped, and the target's going to be over here at the, down here at this line right here. And we know we had our stop was, remember, left click twice, gets you that little box on the side. This was at 53, I believe it was. Actually, I'm going to make this white because I can't really see the, maybe make it orange. How about maybe see if that works? See if I can see.
Lewis, the arrow version 2 goes on top. You pull that one on first, and then you pull the original arrow on, and then you'll be able to see everything together. Al, did you actually talk to Nate about this issue?
No, I didn't. I never got a hold of him this weekend. He was out of town in a conference this weekend, and so I didn't connect with him.
Because it'd be good if somebody could get a hold of him. I don't know him myself, otherwise I would. Before he releases the new issue or the new version on.
Make sure this is addressed in that. Yeah. I'll try again today and see if I can get a hold of him.
I'll try him right now. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do,
and so yeah, right now it's looking like this thing could really. This is a nice little. Canadian dollar is still. When you look at the Canadian dollar, you also it's also a good indicator of what oil is doing, because that's a big part of the. When you see the dollar move against the currency, it usually has to do with, you can usually look at oil and it's going to give you another indication as well. But right now everything is looking to. This looks like this could be a little bit. You could maybe get a little bit of a bounce off of here. And if it does, let's see, we just got Euro Aussie alert, just came in. Let's take a look at that one. Euro Aussie. This is following the same course of what we have strong uptrend, down arrow, getting very close to as we scale in, you can see we have 3 red zones and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green zones. Pull back. We're looking at possibly a bounce off of, now this is a weak zone, so we're looking at possibly a bounce off of here to go up to the upside. I'm not going to take this thing short. I'm going to take a look at it and see about maybe what I might do if it get the bounce and then an up arrow. But remember, in order to get the up arrow, it's going to have to be above this moving average, which is now curling on down.
We also received a euro pound, Al.
Euro pound, okay. Let me get this on the off of here. And we have a euro pound chart window. Make sure you put it on the 15-minute chart. Put your template on. Load it. Default. Open. And there it is. Okay.
Hey Al, Euro AUD is breaking a major trend line right now to the downside.
Yeah, but it was also coming right into, I think, the Euro AUD you said?
Yeah.
That's that's the chart that we're in. Actually, that's the alert that we just got, Euro AUD.
Yeah.
So we have Euro AUD and Euro pound both. Let's see the Euro. But this isn't, so basically but we have a green zone, so we can't take that one. So let's go Euro pound. Is that a Euro pound, Eva? Is that right?
Euro pound, yes.
Oh, Euro, British pound. There we go. Okay, now this one we're going to be looking at strong move down. So we're looking for a short. This is a down arrow, so that qualifies. Let's zoom in. And we have right here's our entry. And right now the price is above where the entry was, so that's a good thing. Now the question is, do we have 20 pips to the downside? Let me change this out here a little bit. My line here to a yellow one. Click OK, and so now we have right now it's pulling back a little bit. So we actually have a better entry if we were to take that. And we'll come down and check and see, do we have 20 pips? There's 22 pips to 21 pips to the downside, so that's good. That's a possibility. And we're below the moving average. We have a red bar, we have the down arrow, we have 21 pips to the downside. We can take this trade. Put our stop, notify it. There's our 40 pip stop, here's our 20 pip target. And we're going to set that. Here's our target. Our stop is up here. Should be all the way up to all the way up here. Here's where our stop is. Here's where our target is. And we're in that trade. Now we sit on our hands and wait and see what happens.
I've got a CAD Swiss. Did you look at that one yet, Al?
CAD Swiss, I did not look at that one yet.
I know it's outside of the regular
Yeah,
regular pairs. But
yeah, look at, let me go Euro, British, let me get this. I think that CAD Swiss, you say?
yeah, it's saying a
CAD,
buy.
CAD Swiss on a
I'm just
buy.
gonna check.
Is that a new alert that it came in?
Yeah, it came in at the turn of the hour about 6 minutes ago.
Yeah, it looks like I can probably load up all these charts so I can get these alerts. So I'll do that after we get done with this session today. Load. Well, we have let's see, as we scale in, zoom out, so we see how many zones we have. And we have 1, 2, 3 red zones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green zones. So we can take this trade to the upside. Let's go to, let's zoom out, or zoom in rather. Here's the arrow. We had the bounce arrow. Weak, it's a weak zone. So I'm going to, and we do have, looks like we do have some momentum to the upside here. CAD Swiss, let's take a look at that on something else here. And we have looks like we could have a target of 69.86. So we have our entry line is going to be right here is the entry. And that's 69.80. There is could get a little bit of a bounce at 86, but we do have 20 pips to the upside. I would say if we can get through this zone, if we can get rid of this weak zone, then we could take the trade. We have a little bit of we're going to have a little bit of a problem right here at 86. But we do have 20 pips to the next zone, I believe. So here's the entry. And there's, that's only 15 pips. The entry was at 69.80, so 60, 60, it's at 70 basically. So the target's going to be at 70. I'm just going to right click to change this and just move this over to the parameters 0.70. Here's where the target is. It's in the zone. We can't take the trade. You don't have the 20 pips.
Excuse me, just to confirm, arrow 2 should be on top, correct?
Arrow 2 should be
No,
on
we
top.
should probably actually talk to Nate so he knows what we're talking about.
But
Or not to just tell him that. It just, actually, what the problem is, if they're not both loaded with arrow 2 on top, then not all the indicators are coming on properly. So he may want to know more info than that to fix it.
that's exactly what I wrote. What you just said. To give them a little bit more detail.
So anyway, back to this one. This looks like a no trade there. Target's too far into the red zone. And also we do have a little bit of a area right. If you look over here to the left, you can see where it kind of came in and bounced off that. It did break that, but it's going to have to come, it's going to come back and retest this area right in here. And then, again, that's still well below where your target would be. If you look between these yellow lines, you can look over here, you can see where this is where there's been a lot of, it came down, it found some buyers and sellers battled out here, came back down, came up, tested it, came back down, tested it, broke out, came back down, tested it. And so right now, this whole area right in here seems to be a place where there's a lot of buyers and sellers where there's a lot of indecision right in this area. So this is a good one to just stay away from. And plus it doesn't follow the rules to take the trade. Let's see what else. Where we had the? Did we have another? Let's see, we had. Now, where was it that you said you found the old alerts? That was that in the journal?
In the experts tab.
The experts. Okay, yeah, here it is. So cat Swiss was the initialized. Cat Swiss, Cat Swiss. Cat Swiss, Cat Swiss. EuroCAD. Let's take a look at that one again. This is the one that had that weak zone that it broke through that. That's EuroCAD. I'm looking at the wrong one here. This EuroCAD looks like it has some room to the downside.
That's the one that I'm in. Oh,
Yeah, that's the one that you decided to stay in when we got that little weak zone.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think once you're in the trade, as long as you keep stay with the red arrows and they don't get a green arrow, if you get the green arrow that crosses over the moving average and turns green, that's probably one sign to be looking at getting out of the trade. Until then, you keep calling for your target.
And the Euro GBP is still hanging in there too. I'm in both of them, the Euro CAD and the Euro GBP.
I would urge everybody to go through the different strategies that Nathan shows in the setup list. He has I think 8 strategies out now, and we'll start going through some of those other strategies. This one may be EuroCAD. This one has a little bit more pullback, I think, than what we would use for the one strategy. Let's see here. This is looking at right around a 60% pullback on this one.
Hey, Ava, you're in Euro GBP short, correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that thing looks nice.
I haven't really looked at it again. Let me have a quick look at it.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, yeah.
satisfied with it. So
Yeah, it's a nice so far it looks like it's got a clean sailing, let's put it that way. So let's hope it hits the target. I took the 20 pips on it.
I have a Swiss yen. There's a Swiss yen I just got. Let's take a look at that one. It's after 9 o'clock, just before the U.S. market is not going to open up today, so.
you can see how chaotic it can be, right? When you get all these alerts and people are worried about not getting enough trades.
As we look at the Swiss yen, we're looking at it's right in it. We got the red. Well, first off, it's right in a green zone with a down arrow, so that immediately eliminates it, no matter what trend it is. We go to the zoom out, and we're going to see we have lots of red bars, small green bars. So we're still looking to go short, but we're coming right into that zone. So we zoom in, and it's no trade because we're right at a zone right here.
See, I would still be tempted only because it's right on the edge of that green. Like it's on the other side of it, if you know what I mean. Like it's kind of straddling the box and it's
Right.
now going down again.
You're talking about on the Swiss?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is it doesn't follow the rules. That's the biggest problem. It does, I mean, we had a bounce, the arrow. Now this one, now the question is with this one right here, we had, it's range bound. So we don't want to be taking range bound one. So here's where the entry would have been to the upside. And if we measure that, that's 10 pips. That would not have had enough range to the upside. We obviously don't have enough range to the downside. And your 20 pips means it's going to have to break all the way through. And you also see that there's actually, this is where wedges kind of come in a little bit, is that we have the low, and we have, now it's kind of breaking through this wedge area. We do have the downward pressure. It did form there is a little bit of a wedge right in here. We have the zone, we have chemo penetrated in the zone. Right now, it's pretty much, now it is breaking through the wedge. Now the question would be is, do you want to take that? There is a wedge strategy. I'm not sure this would fit the strategy though, to take it short.
I think I would wait for the price to go down a little bit until that green box disappears and then see where you stand with this one, because there is so much pressure going down.
Yeah, because if let's just zoom in here a little bit more. That's about as far as it can zoom in. And there isn't anything lower over, we have to go all the way over off the chart in order to see anything. Let's go to a 1 hour chart. Let's take a look and see if there's anything there. Once it gets through this zone, then it's got free sailing all the way down here.
Yeah.
But it's got to get through this. Right now, it's still range bound between here and here. And it's still not, you say it's still, the range is still rather small.
It might be.
Well, that's an 1 hour. See, this is my 1 hour chart. That's an 88 pip range. So there is enough range in between here, but not to this zone right here. This one's weak. But you can also see you had a bounce. This was actually retested 3 times. So it's been tested before and it's been bounced off of here. So right now here's the first bounce, second bounce. This is the third bounce right here. It is forming a wedge, and this is a nice little down move, a little pullback. Now this thing could, this could possibly fit the Fibonacci rule, but it would have to have been on up in this area. And it would just barely figured because it has to touch the moving average, which it did on the pullback. Swiss yen, let me see, Swiss. Let's see, this is a Swiss yen. Let me put that one up here and see what. Yeah, Swiss yen to me, it just doesn't have enough room before it's going to probably get a bounce. But like I said, if it can break through this, it's got to be able to break through this zone. If it can break through this zone, then it's got a long way down. But there's a lot of there are a lot of buyers in this zone right in here. And I would expect to bounce right around the 1629 area, which would be right about in this area right in here. 1629, which would be right about there, which is pretty much right where this thing is. I think it's going to come back down and retest that. If it can break that, then we may have a trade, but it's got to get through that area.
Yeah. So I like what the other screens are saying for the Swiss yen now. It's I actually have an appetite to take that short, even though there's that big fat zone right there. It hasn't retested that zone in quite a long time.
Well, let's show you what I'm looking at here.
Yeah, maybe I'm seeing something a little different. Maybe I don't know.
And I'm had to pull this up on a 3-hour chart. We have some pressure right now. We're showing that the let's see Swiss. Let's see make sure which one's which here. Strength wise, the Swiss is the lighter one, and the yen is the So the yen is the 7. So that's basically to give strength to the downside, which I confirmed that. But over here on the 3-hour chart, we have this is right in this area right in here. There's a bunch of buyers that came in right around in this area. So I'm going to be considering this to be pretty much the demand zone. Now, how many times the buyers are going to come and retest this, I don't know. But I'd be looking at this to be more of a trap area, right? This is kind of where the demand is. And if you look to the downside, the price of that is at 1626. And if we look and see where 1626 is on this chart, let's be a little bit down here, move it down a little bit further, which is right where I started this little trend arrow. And we have a little bit of room to the downside. I mean, there's 35 to 26, but there again, you're looking at 9 pips. As far as the arrow rules are, you need 20 pips. Now you could maybe scalp this out a little bit, but I'm not going to do that. And the reason being is because we're coming right into this little zone right here, which is just a few pips down. You could probably, I mean, you may be able to get a few pips on this. And it may break through this. And if it does break through this area right in here, come on all the way over. And this is the zone that we're looking at here. If you look and see where here's a strong move up, it based. Another strong move up, came back, retested. Now, if we move this all the way over to this area right here, this would be the basing area off of this strong move up. Here's where it was rejected. This is where it was based, rejected. Now it's coming back to retest this area. So if you look all the way over here, now that does give you a little bit more room to the downside. And that's about that's 27 pips to the top of this green zone here. But it's going to have to get through this little wick right in here first. Does it have the ability to do that on a day when the U.S. market's closed? I don't know. We are still in the European session. This is a Swiss pair, which is a European pair. we're not really trading it against the US dollar. So it has potential. I won't argue that. But you're not going to have the US market to help drive it. Any other questions? And we have about 3 more minutes before we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, let me go and reset this. I'll realign my trades down here. So here's the Swiss yen. I'm going to move my CAD yen all the way over here with the C's. Swiss CAD. Now we got my Euro pairs all together. US pairs are all together. Aussie pairs are all together. And my British pairs are all together. Let's see how those Euro CADs are doing here. Still working its way down. Euro British, we were in that one. Let's see, we did get into the Euro British. Let's see where that one is taking us. Still, now we're still going short. Still below, it's got a little bit of a pullback right here, but we're still below the moving average. It's kind of flat up here, so it would not surprise me to see it come back in and decide to get out of that one. But right now it's still a viable trade, no zones below. We still have the arrow, we still have the 40 pip stop. We got lots of room to the stop side. We have two zones above us. And remember when we scrolled in, we had lots of downward pressure. So that one's still okay. Nothing wrong, nothing to worry about with that right now. Keep an eye on it. And with that, I think we're going to wrap it up for this morning. And if anybody has any last minute questions, raise your hand and or put it in the chat box. And that going once, twice. And with that, we will see everybody tomorrow, 7:30 tomorrow. Dante should be back in again, 9 o'clock tomorrow. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I believe Dante will be back in at 9 o'clock. We'll be here at 7:30. And we'll see everybody then. Have a good day.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.